Hello, and welcome to Debate Structure. In this video, you will learn the basic structure of a debate. Let's start with an overview. Each debate will have an introduction to the debate and the debaters, opening statements from each side of the debate, cross-examinations, where debaters challenge each other's arguments, time for questions and answers from the audience, time for deciding the winner of the debate, and finally, closing comments by the moderator. Let's watch an example. Hello everyone, and thank you for coming today. My name is Philip, and I'm the moderator for today's debate. Today, we're here to listen to a debate about paying donors for organs. The proposition of today's debate is whether or not donors should be paid for donating their organs. Let me introduce some background information on this topic. There are many patients in Japan waiting for organ transplants, for example, kidney or heart transplants. However, the number of organ donations in Japan is much lower than in Western countries. Considering this background information is important because by paying donors to donate their organs, we could increase the number of organ donations here in Japan, and that would save many lives. So let me introduce today's debaters. On the pro side, we have Kyoko and Maki. They are for the proposition, arguing that donors should be paid for donating their organs. On the con side is Yuka and Yasu. They are against the proposition. They are arguing that donors should not be paid for donating their organs. After presenting their arguments, we will have time for questions and answers from the audience. Then, the audience will vote to decide the winner of today's debate. Now, I'd like to hand over to Kyoko.
Thank you for your introduction. We are arguing that donors should be paid for donating their organs because it will save people's lives. There are almost 12,000 people in Japan waiting for just kidney transplants. In Japan, however, in 2016, doctors performed only 64 organ transplants in total. That means thousands of people are suffering and may die. However, we can motivate more people to donate their organs by paying their money. I think it is clear that paying donors for organs would increase organ donation and save many lives.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to hand over to Yuka on the con side.
You might think paying donors is a good idea, but actually it would hurt people, especially poor people. Many poor people with no money might be motivated to sell their organs. Or worse, they might be targeted by criminals who force them to sell their organs. Let us conclude by saying paying donors could be dangerous, especially for poor people in society.
We finished the first round. To summarize some of the main points, the pro side argued that paying donors is a very practical way to save lives. But the con side argued that it could be dangerous for poor people in society. Now, let's move on to the next round, cross-examinations. Now, I'd like to hand over to the pro side again.
Thank you. According to the con side, paying donors for organ donations could be dangerous. However, these dangers are exaggerated. Some poor people might sell their organs for money, but that is a minority. And as for criminals, we don't think so many criminals would do this kind of crime in Japan. In conclusion, the benefits of paying organ donors clearly outweigh the chances of these negative aspects.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to hand over to the con side again.
Thank you. We think it is wrong to claim the benefit of paying organ donors outweigh the negative aspects. However, it is not just a practical issue, but also a moral issue. If you buy and sell the organs on the free market in Japan, then organs will become a commodity like rice, milk, and bread. This means that price of organs and human life are decided by supply and demand. Is it right to put a price on human life like this? In conclusion, we want everyone to think carefully about this moral question before we allow buying and selling your organ.
We have finished the second round. To summarize some of the main points, the pro side pointed out that the law could protect people who may be negatively affected by the buying and selling of organs. However, the con side mentioned some of the moral and ethical issues involved. Let's move on to the Q&A. So now I'd like to hand over to the audience for questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll give you the microphone. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, you over there.
Thank you. I have a question for all the debaters. Why are there so many people waiting for organ transplants in Japan?
To answer your question, Japan has the strictest organ donation law in the world. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is correct. Before 1997, organ donation could only be made other family members and from people whose heart stopped.
Thank you. I have a question for all the debaters. Are there other ways to increase organ donations in Japan?
Yes, we can also improve information about organ donation. For example, if you're in an accident and become brain dead, your organs could be donated and save the life of many people. However, many hospitals won't ask us or our families about this because it is a sensitive issue. So, we must ask the hospitals ourselves.
I have a question too.
I'm sorry, but that's all the time we have for questions today. Let's move on to voting for the winner of today's debate. We will vote to decide the winner of today's debate. The proposition of today's debate was whether or not organ donors should be paid for donating their organs. The pro side argued that organ donors should be paid. The con side argued that organ donors should not be paid. If you think the pro side won, please raise your hands to vote. Okay. If you think the con side won, please raise your hands to vote now. Oh! The winner of today's debate is the con side. Please give them a big round of applause. Today, we learned a lot about organ transplantation and the situation with organ transplantation here in Japan. It was a really close vote today. You know, I think that shows, and it is a really important topic, and there's still lots to discuss. So you guys did a great job. Let's say thank you to all our debaters and give them another round of applause. In this video, you learned the basic structure of a debate. Do you remember all of the important points? If not, go back and watch the video again. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.